Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. My name is Jaime Santos and I'm an elementary school teacher, specifically 3rd grade. Now, for those of you who are new here, don't really know what it is that we do, well, I do, it's just me. I sit here, talk to the camera, to you guys, and I give out advice to people who want to be teachers, or maybe people who already are teachers. I'm not saying my advice is the be all end all of advice, but you know, maybe if you're struggling a little bit, this could help you out. So, this week we're gonna do things just a little bit differently. Instead of me giving just general advice on stuff, I'm gonna be taking a couple of questions from you guys and answering, a little Q&A back and forth, so we can have a little bit of communication. Also, if my background looks a little different than usual, don't worry. I'm in Japan right now. I've always wanted to go, and I decided to, why not? Why not just go now? So I took a couple days of vacation, and I came down here because I just always wanted to visit. But I also didn't want to leave you guys without this week's video, so I brought a couple of things so that I could record over here. So, without further ado, let's jump into the questions. Okay, here we have our first question. Eli Rye McGee asks, what was your purpose when starting your career? Why did you want to become a teacher? It's always important to have a clear purpose when pursuing anything, not just a career. Mine was and still is to be a teacher that doesn't just go to their classroom and do the bare minimum. I want to be the kind of teacher that helps all different kinds of students be successful and doesn't give up on the ones that find it just a little bit harder to learn the way that the majority does. When I was younger, I had a difficult time wrapping my head around certain concepts. That didn't mean I wasn't smart. It just meant that I didn't learn the same way as a lot of the other kids in my class. Because of that, I also found it difficult to ask questions when I needed to, because it felt like people were just going to make fun of me, or I was just going to look stupid to everybody else. Those two factors made my life hell when I was younger, and that foundation was cemented and followed me all the way to college. Those are the kind of kids I want to focus on a bit more, so they can feel like someone's on their side and not just gonna write them off as another bad student. A great question. So let's move on to the next one then. So next off, we have Elon Muskrat, great name by the way, asking, I want to pursue a degree at college that lets me be a teacher, like you. What exactly was your degree called? Were you able to complete at only one college? I actually didn't even know what my degree was called at first. I just thought it was called elementary school teacher. After I decided what I wanted to be, I checked with my counselor and found that it was actually called elementary education. As for the second half of your question, no, I actually went to a college in Florida called Valencia College first, and then from there I went to UCF after I got my associate's degree at Valencia, and I got my bachelor's there. And funny enough, I've actually gone back, well, I will be going back next semester once it starts to get my master's degree there. I figured if it was a decent school, I learned a lot, I'm doing well, so I figured why not go for my master's there again. Alright, so this next question comes from Mr. Jack Spadici, and he's asking, how much did your degree end up costing you, both your associates and your bachelor's? Alright, so this is one I actually get asked a lot, especially from college students and high school students who are looking to get into the field. Which is understandable. You want to know what you're getting into as early as possible, and that way you can plan accordingly. It actually ended up costing about 25 grand. I was able to pay mostly through financial aid that I got from the school when I signed up for it each semester, like Pell Grant and all those things that they usually offer. But at the time I was also working at Circle K, and they actually have this benefit program called tuition assistance, and it actually helped me pay for the amount that financial aid wouldn't cover for whatever particular reason at the time. I also signed up for a couple of scholarships, and I ended up getting some. Not all. You're never going to get all of them unless you're just that good. But that's pretty much how I paid my way through that. Okay, so on to the next question. This one comes from Nugget Farmer. What exactly do you do as an elementary school teacher? Okay, so my days consist of getting up pretty early in the morning, around 6 a.m. I head to school and I set up class if I need to, move around desks in case we're doing some kind of activity or anything that involves anything like that. I try to finish all that before the kids get there. Sometimes some of them get there early and actually help me move the desk around or set something up. And then once everybody's there and in their seats, I teach for a few hours. We do some activities that help them get into the lesson, and it's always something different. I try to make things different so that they're always excited about what's coming the next day. I don't like giving worksheets or anything like that, at least not too much, because it feels like they just don't really learn just from that. It feels like if they can get into it by having fun, they can actually learn the material a whole lot better. After a couple hours, they go to lunch and I go eat my lunch as well. And then afterwards, back to class for about an hour and a half. After which, I usually let them have recess at the school's playground. Sometimes I even work in lessons into a game for them or something. That way they can have fun and they can learn something at the same time. After that, we go back inside until 3:30, which is when they get to go home. But I end up staying after until about 4:30 to finish up any work, any lesson plans maybe for the next day, and then I go home to my family. Speaking of family, I've got to start wrapping this up. My wife's actually rushing me because we're headed to Shibuya in a couple of minutes, but I've got just enough time for one more question. And this question comes to us from Dreamcatchers, who asks, "You're always giving us advice, but what was some advice you were given on your way to becoming a teacher?" Well, sometime into my college career, around 2018, I took a new student experience class, and I needed to interview somebody who was in the same field that I was going into for an assignment. The teacher I interviewed gave me some advice I've never forgotten. She said, "Always try to become an asset to your students, not another obstacle." It's something I've always tried to strive for as a teacher because those words hit pretty close to home. Another piece of advice I got actually came from my wife, who's also a teacher. She told me to always dig deeper because not everyone is always who they show you they are. I always took that as if I have a student who's giving me a hard time or seems like he doesn't want to be helped, that I shouldn't give up on them because there might be a reason why they act the way that they do. She's smart like that, and I'm really lucky to have her. And speaking of my lovely wife, let me go ahead and cut this video off here before she comes in through the door and drags me out of here. But once again, thanks for tuning in, and I had a lot more questions, but obviously I'm on a time crunch. I couldn't get to them all right now, so watch out for another Q&A video I might be doing at some point in the future. So keep sending in your questions, and I'll see what I can do about that. But once again, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys in the next video.